Welcome to your SAGE pre-departure orientation for Spring 26 study abroad. This is everybody going abroad for Spring 26, either on CSUF exchange, CSUIP, or non-CSUF study abroad. So, reminder that this presentation is being recorded. I will be uploading it to your Sage portal, so on your CSUF Study Abroad application, and I will also be sending you the slides. For anyone that is not able to attend this live session, we will be uploading it as an assessment to your application. Those of you that are here today, just like we did for the acceptance orientation, you'll be asked if you attended the live session. If you say yes, then you won't be required to complete that assessment. Just like we have in the past, we'll have time for questions at the very end. So um, if you want to go ahead and drop your questions in the chat throughout the presentation so you don't forget them. And at the end, we also do have country-specific breakout rooms. So that'll also be another chance for you to ask more specific questions about your programs. Um, and yeah, everybody will have access to all this information in the coming days. So this is our agenda for today. We are covering quite a bit. I don't think we'll be the 2 hours, but more like an hour and a half, but it is a lot of information. So, an overview, we're going to go over some announcements, some key reminders. The majority of this is going to talk more about your pre-departure checklist information and student conduct matters. We are going to go over a few study abroad case studies to help you prepare for your experiences and learn from other people's learned experiences. And at the end, we will give just a few additional resources that'll help you in this pre-departure phase, and we'll open it up to Q&A. But So first thing is now that you're going abroad pretty soon, we have opened our Instagram takeover sign up form. So if you are interested in doing that, go ahead and scan the QR code. I will also be sending you an email invite. But really what this is, it's a chance for you to showcase your study abroad experience. We give you, I believe it is a week, where you take over our Instagram account and you have specific guidelines. So we give you specific topics for you to discuss for each day. But otherwise, it's really up to you how creative you want to be. Do you want to do it as a reel, as a post, as a Q&A session on stories? It's all up to you. And these are super helpful for students considering study abroad. That way they can get an insight into what a study abroad experience could be like. And they get so much attention, a lot of our followers actually like this is the reason why they follow us because of these takeovers. So if you are interested, go ahead and sign up. The way it works is we will go ahead and contact you with specific dates that you have been assigned to do the takeover. We have a pretty busy social media schedule, so we do try to schedule everybody early in advance so that you could also plan right for it and you'll have guidelines, some rules you have to follow. We'll give you the logins, all the information you need to do this. And the next thing we also wanted to promote today is our Global Titans Ambassador program. So, if you're not aware of this program, it is a volunteer opportunity that is open only to students that have previously gone abroad. So, at the end of your study abroad experience, you will qualify for this program. And it is a really great opportunity where you are able to continue to share your knowledge of study abroad with other Cal State Fullerton students, share about your experiences, tips. Most importantly, our Global Titan ambassadors are responsible for hosting our monthly info sessions. Anytime we have an on-campus event or we have to table, they are the ones representing our team. So there's a lot of hands-on experiences. It'll also become part of your experience that when you come back from study abroad, you just want to talk about it all the time, and maybe your close loved ones are tired of it. This is your chance, right, to just continue talking about what your experience was like and to people that are genuinely interested about it. So if you are interested in being a Global Titan ambassador, I will be emailing you more towards the end of spring 26. So you will still be abroad, most of you, but you will still be able to submit the application. And the commitment is for the year. So you would have to be able to commit for fall 26 and spring 27. We ask for a full year commitment. And if you want to learn more about the program, let me know. But just heads up that that'll be something you qualify for. We also wanted to remind you of campus closure dates. So, while you're abroad, our office is still your main point of contact if you ever need anything. I know a lot of you are going to be departing during the winter break. So, if something comes up, we are open during winter session, but there are a few dates where campus is closed. So, although students are not on campus during some of the winter session dates are most of the department offices are available, but the dates that I specifically listed here, just know that campus will be closed. So there will be a delay in responses if you contact us via email. Um, some of the holidays are like the President's Day in February, Cesar Chavez Day in March, but I think the ones that are like priority for me, making sure you're aware of are the winter recess dates, just because I know that a lot of you might be traveling during that time, and if you have any questions, and you email our general inbox, there may be a delayed response. I would still go ahead and email me directly. I do tend to still check my email when campus is closed, just for an emergency. I just browse it in when I wake up in the morning just to make sure nothing's on fire, and then I get back to my day. So we are open during winter session. So that'll be from January 2nd to January 16 during regular business hours. And then after January 16, regular spring semester starts here at Cal State Fullerton. So if you need to get a hold of us, just know that we'll be back to regular scheduling hours. And I also did want to let everybody know that I will be officially out of the office from December 19 to January 5th. But like I said, you could still reach out to me. There just may be a bit of a delayed response. But especially if it's an emergency, we'll have a few more resources right now that you could also contact in addition to just emailing me. So the majority of you completed your assessment videos by now. We asked for you to complete those by last night. I completely understand there might be some items that you have not completed yet, so that's okay. We'll continue auditing applications, making sure you're completing everything before you depart. But the main thing I wanted everybody to complete were the assessment videos because, like you saw, there's just so much content, so much information. These are the topics that were covered in those videos, right? So travel, technology, safety, money matters, cultural adjustments, a lot of great info that we have already provided to you in those videos. So because you already completed the assessment videos, we won't be going over these topics during today's presentation. But if you have any questions about these topics, we can open it up at the end. Today's session is more going over like risk management, student conduct, insurance, who to contact in case of an emergency, financial aid, and academics. So the major components of your pre-departure checklist are also located in your CSUF study abroad application. Um, But if you have any more of like individual questions regarding your visa, your accommodations, your flights, those can be addressed after this presentation during Q&A, or if you set up a one-on-one appointment with me. A lot of information, like we said, is covered in your CSUF study abroad application through those assessment videos or through learning content. And please know that you could refer to any of that while you're abroad. So you'll still have access to that application if you remember, like, oh, there's the travel health insurance step-by-step guide in my application and you need to use it. You could always log in and access that. Your post application was due yesterday. And like I said again, it's okay. I know some items you might not have yet. Some of the common ones are going to be like your itinerary. Some of you don't have your acceptance application letters yet, so that's okay. You can hold off on submitting any of those questionnaires until you have them. Just know that in the meantime, you will continue to receive those automated email reminders, and we will also be auditing applications to make sure you've completed everything before. So Duo has been implemented for a while, and this has carried on through a few of our study abroad orientation cycles. But I still keep it here because every cycle there's at least one student that is not able to get into their CSUF Titan portal because they didn't have the Duo app somehow. So just a reminder that before you leave, we highly recommend that you get the Duo app so that while you're abroad, you can still access your CSUF Titan portal. The main reason why you would want to access that is because while you're abroad, you will be enrolling in classes for fall 26, right? So you want to make sure you have access to all of that. So if you haven't done this, make sure you do it. And another part of communication is a WhatsApp group. So if you're not familiar with WhatsApp, WhatsApp is an app that is commonly used in a lot of international settings, right? So like I know my family in Mexico, this is what they use to communicate. It's like Messenger, right? But it is more commonly used in other countries. Um, we have created a study abroad Spring 26 group in WhatsApp. So all of you will be required to download this app on your phone. And this is what we use to communicate with you in case of an emergency. I will also send you an email with the link to this, but you have the QR code here. So we do require that all of you download the app, scan this QR code, and join this group. Within this group that we created, there's subgroups for each country. So join the one where you're traveling to. Um, this WhatsApp group is only to be used in case of an emergency. So one example, if, let's say like maybe there is a natural disaster, something happened in that sense during your study abroad program, the study abroad team will send a message to everybody in that country, just asking for you to check in, letting us know that you're okay, you're safe. Um, that's it. So ideally, this, if everything goes well, right? This group chat shouldn't even be used, right? But in case of an emergency, this will be one of the ways we reach out to you. It's also one option for you to reach out to us. So that way we see a notification come here, we know immediately, oh, it's an emergency. The student needs attention immediately. So please do not use this to do just casual chatting or planning a trip or booking the same flights. That's what the Discords are for. So feel free to do that on Discord. So this is only in case of an emergency. And this is our 24/7 emergency phone number that we also ask you save in your phone. So this phone number will connect you to the person on our team that is in charge of risk management. So any emergencies while you're abroad. So please, I would go ahead and save this number on your phone. And this isn't your only option for an emergency, but let's say maybe it's you can't get a hold of a person at your host university or one of your professors, right? Or you find yourself in a situation where there really is no one around you, or you're not aware of the local emergency contacts. This is a number that you could always reach out to. And this was also discussed in your in your study abroad application. We also require that all study abroad students enroll in the STEP program. So this is a free service to all US citizens and nationals that allows you to go ahead and enroll anytime you travel, and it'll give you updates like any if anything has happened in that area where you're going to be, you'll receive live updates. If anything were to happen, it's a way that the travel.gov is able to track US residents. So this is a requirement for everybody studying abroad. It takes a few minutes. It'll probably just ask like for um, your travel dates, location, basic info like that. Um, there is no way that our office can confirm that you actually did this. So we provide you with all the information, and we trust that you're doing this. So it is to your benefit for your safety. So please do this. It only takes a few minutes. Financial aid. So financial aid is another major component of this process right now before you leave. Um, there shouldn't be much change in your financial aid processing because you are studying abroad. So I've already provided financial aid with your full program cost, your program budget. So all of that has already been provided to them. Um, they have your program dates. So they are aware of all of that. If you do receive any scholarships, we are required to also notify the financial aid office. So um, the students that got the Gilman Scholarship, for example, we do have to report that to financial aid. The only thing that you have to do at this point is make sure that you have direct deposit set up, because you'll be abroad when your money is dispersed, right? If you are awarded any grants, you're going to be abroad, so you want to make sure you have direct deposit. We've had unfortunate events where students didn't have direct deposits and the check was mailed to their house, and there was no one designated that was able to go ahead and cash or transfer that check to them. So please, please, please make sure you have direct deposit set up. As a backup, you could also designate someone to communicate with financial aid on your behalf. Um, this is something I believe you could do directly with the financial aid office, like officially assigning a loved one to be able to communicate with financial aid on your behalf. This would only be something, I mean, this is something that you could come in handy like in that scenario where that student had a check sent to their house. If they would have had somebody on file, then perhaps that person could have communicated directly with financial aid. The other thing that you have to do is just make sure you have cushion or buffer for funds available to you while you're waiting for financial aid disbursements. So we'll go over like disbursement timelines. It's usually 10 days before your program. Um, but just make sure that uh, you have a plan, right? What are you going to do up to before you have that money? You want to make sure you're budgeting for all of that. And we won't go so much into money matters because you had that topic covered in your assessment video. But prior to departure, we recommend that you have about $200 in your country's currency, just to have while when you arrive, just in case something comes up or you need to buy a meal, like you have that cash. We don't recommend you travel with large amounts of cash, not safe. But usually around 200 is what we recommend. So the financial aid processing timeline, um, this is what it is. So it's typically 10 days prior to the start of your semester. So we've already communicated your program start dates to financial aid. So if your official classes, not including any intro language courses, like I know some of the CSUIP or MISEFA has that. So not including that, but the start of your official semester, if it's before Cal State Fullerton, your financial aid will be dispersed around the same time as everybody else, which is 10 days prior to the start of the semester. Um, Keep in mind that if you do get the middle class scholarship, that is usually dispersed in two parts. Believe the first half at the beginning of the semester, the second half through the middle of the semester. Um, if your official classes, not including interlanguage courses, start after CSUF, your financial aid will be dispersed 10 days prior to the start of your semester. I think this is very important, especially for those of you going to like Japan that are starting super late. Um, you won't be getting your financial aid until 10 days before your program starts. Let's see. So, student business services processing. Um, let's see. This slide has a lot of info, but I think the main takeaways here is um, for those of you doing IP and reciprocal exchange, your CSUF tuition and fees will be collected from your aid funds, and any remaining funds will be forwarded to your bank. So, um, if financial aid usually covers part or most or all of your tuition for those two types of programs, IP and exchange, everything will be handled as usual. Um, if you are doing a non-CSUF study abroad program, though, please remember that you only qualify for federal aid. So those will go directly to you, those funds. But if you typically get like the Cal Grant, so state aid, that is not applied to non-CSUF programs. Um, yeah. So I think that's it on this slide. The last point for financial aid, if you ever have any questions about financial aid while you're abroad, say like it's been 20 days that your program started and you still haven't gotten your disbursement, or it's more than halfway through your semester and you still haven't gotten that second part of your middle class scholarship, please email me directly. Um, and I will we have a person in financial aid that is our go-to for any study abroad matters. So I will put you in direct communication with that person. If you go directly to financial aid, there's the risk of further confusion because not everybody is trained on study abroad matters in financial aid. You know how busy they are, right? So there could also be a delayed response. So this applies to any type of program, IP, exchange, non-CSUF. Please go ahead and contact me, and then we can take it from there. My goal is that you get a fast response and that if there was an error in the system that they're able to release that fast so that you could get your funds instead of you going in circles, right? So just contact me directly and we'll take it from there. Okay, so that's it on financial aid. This next part, just a quick review for traveling and illness. Like we mentioned in your assessment video, you want to check out your government resources to find out more about the risk of visiting particular countries. All of that is public information you can find on the CDC website, the US Department country-specific website, the World Health Organization country pages. It's something we recommend you do. And we also always recommend that you take some supplies of medication you may need. Any what I how the way I think about it is like think if you get sick, at least you know you have some over-the-counter medication that you are familiar with, that you trust, as opposed to just being very sick and having to navigate a whole new country trying to find the medication that best works for you, right? So if you can do that, that'll be really helpful. Just like we talked in the assessment video, if you have any medication that does require a prescription, please bring the prescription document with you. Um, in general, with any medication, we always recommend that when you do travel with it, you always keep it in its original container, so that you're not, if you get asked, if TSA asks you any questions, there's no like ambiguity about what it is. It's in its original container. And be sure to research if your medications are legal in your host country, and if not, what you will need to do to request an alternative prior to your trip. If you have any questions about this, I know sometimes we've had students that may inquire, like, is there any way that the travel health insurance can assist with this? It really is a case by case situation, so go ahead and email us directly and we can inquire with risk management for more advice. And with that, travel health insurance. So, um, everybody going abroad will receive travel health insurance. At this point, I think the majority of you already have it. There's just a few of you that were finalizing some details. It may vary by program, right? So for those of you that are doing CSUIP programs, your travel health insurance was something that you actually paid for through CSUIP, and CSUIP is handling your travel health insurance. So they'll be the ones providing you with your insurance card and more instructions. For the rest of you, so those of you doing CSUF exchange and non-CSUF programs, your travel health insurance is provided to you by Cal State Fullerton at no additional cost. And you will be receiving your travel health insurance as a PDF via email. The majority of you already got it with instructions on how to use it. Um, non-CSUF students, you may even be double insured because a lot of times providers also have their own insurance. We always advocate that the CSUF insurance is your top coverage, so that should be the first one you go to. But if you're double insured, then it would be at the end of the day, it's up to you to decide what coverage you want to use. And also a reminder that this coverage is only during the duration of your academic program. So if you, for whatever reason, decide to extend later for personal travel, that is not included in this travel insurance. This is what the insurance card looks like. So for those of you that received it already, please make sure that you're saving this. You also have a copy of it uploaded on your CSUF application under the Documents tab. You have it linked in the official email that was sent to you by Risk Management and our team. I recommend that you save a copy on your phone, print a paper copy to carry with you, maybe like in your backpack, in your wallet, in case you ever need to use this. All the information is on there, the numbers you should call. Uh, with this insurance, we also want to clarify that this is health insurance. So sometimes we have students confuse it with travel insurance, such as like, oh, if my flight is delayed, if they lose my luggage, that's not the type of insurance here. If you want that, that's something that you should have added on. You should add on to your flight reservation. This is travel health insurance. So let's say you get sick while you're abroad and you need to see a doctor, you need to be prepared to pay for those services out of pocket, but save all your receipts, invoices, and then you would work with the insurance to get a reimbursement. The insurance, all their services are listed here. So if you need help finding a local hospital that speaks English or recommendations, they would be able to help you. And of course, the team at your host university will also be of assistance to you. But just know that when it comes to the cost, typically the way it works is you pay out of pocket, save receipts and invoices, and then at the end you will be reimbursed. So if you have any questions on how to use this, or if you find yourself abroad and you know you need to use this, but you don't know where to start, you can also reach out to me. We'll start that process. It's just really important that if you want to get reimbursement for any medical expenses, that you go through uh, the insurance claim process. Sometimes we've had students that get medical attention, pay everything out of pocket, and then they ask for a reimbursement, and it's been months and it turns out they never called the insurance, so there is no record of a claim being open for this scenario, right? So more instructions in your CSUF study abroad application, or email me if you have any questions. And we also want to remind everybody, embedded in your application was a learning content titled Your Mental Health Travels Too. This is something that we compiled with resources, tips. There's homesickness. A lot can happen while you're abroad, and we hope that these resources can help you through this process. So again, reminder that you always have access to your CSUF study abroad application if at any moment you want to go back and review this. And I also wanted to remind everybody that while you're abroad, if there's ever any a moment, any point during your experience abroad where you feel like you would need services through CAPS, please contact me directly, and we are able to work directly with the CAPS team to set up an appointment with you. And they have been really great with working, super flexible with working with like time differences. So please know that those services are still available to you when you're abroad. You just got to reach out to me. And as you see the trend here, it's better to reach out to me first so that we could go ahead and point you or connect you with the specific individuals that we have already connected with in these various departments. Okay, so the next few slides are going to be more heavy on student conduct and safety. Um, all of everything I'll be talking about in these next slides you signed off on within your application when you applied to study abroad. So you signed a code of conduct, you signed a release of liability form. So all of you have agreed to follow these policies and conducts while you're abroad. But really, like sometimes I feel like these next slides might seem like, oh, um, we're expecting like the worst behavior or like if I don't know, like if we're scolding the group, but it's not that's not the case. It's more the case of we've just seen we've just had so many experiences and really the priority here is your safety. So just reminding you, right, that when you're abroad, you still remain a Cal State Fullerton student. Um, and really the priority of everything is ensuring that you're safe while you're abroad and that you have a great experience. So with that, SAGE is committed to ensuring the preparedness and safety of students and program leaders who embark on study abroad programs. The purpose of the information on this orientation and the student SAGE portal application is to inform students about the responsibilities to uphold CSUF and CSU policies related to student conduct while participating in their programs. So this content here has been pulled from the student conduct that you signed in your application. So it's just a reminder that these are things that you already agreed to. All of this still applies to you when you're abroad. So first point is use possession or distribution of alcohol under facilitating the use, possession, or distribution of alcohol by any underage individual. So by signing that agreement, you agree that you will not participate in these activities, right? Um, with that, we want to highlight that with study abroad, we are completely aware that the drinking culture is a very common thing that students experience. And we totally are aware that students are exploring. But we also see a lot of correlation between students having negative experience and being intoxicated. So this is a huge part of the experience. And just making sure that you are being responsible. Um, you also agree that you will not participate in the use, possession, or distribution of any illegal or illicit drug. This is also another one that we highly emphasize here, especially because like being in California where there is more flexibility, right, when it comes to like cannabis or that is not the same in other countries, right? So we just want to make sure that our students are aware that participating in any activities as such could have much more extreme consequences in other countries. Um, you also agree that you will not participate in sexual assault, sexual harassment, or indecent exposure. Um, Sexual assault is defined as the implied use or threatened use of force to engage in any sexual activity against another person's will. Um, you also agree to not participate in behavior that threatens the emotional or physical well-being and or safety of participants, including but not limited to any form of fighting. And with this, it also reminds me that our partners are also in consistent communication with our office. So, if any issues were to ever arise or any concerns, our partners abroad have been really good about communicating with us. So, also, if you ever feel like you're not safe or you need help navigating or you've you unfortunately found yourself in an incident, please, please, please reach out to your local program contact team and us as well. And failure to attend any planned activity without the approval of your program staff. So that just goes back to how this is a study abroad experience. So you are still expected to participate in all classes. Your grades will be impacted, right, if you do not attend class. So you're still expected to, just like you would here at Cal State Fullerton, attend classes, submit assignments, because all of that will impact your GPA at the end. And this is more on expectations. So I won't read over every bullet point on this one. Um, but also, like, again, a reminder that ju these are also policies that apply to you here at Cal State Fullerton. And they are also being applied to you in the study abroad setting. Um, and I think this slide also speaks more to the fact that when you are abroad, you are also a representative of California, Cal State Fullerton, right? So all of these things really matter, being respectful. If there are any curfew rules that you need to abide, especially like I'm thinking of like dorms, right? They could have strict hours. Um, Not permitting other students that are not participants in the program to accompany you. This is more like if it's during the academic components of your program, during your free time, we know that you're out exploring, traveling, that's fine. Um, Abiding by local laws and regulations. So that's another thing that we recommend you do before you leave. Maybe look at maybe like searching what are some of the laws and regulations that I should be aware of as a US tourist, right? Because again, it varies, right, by every country, and what we might think is not a big deal in other countries could have way more serious consequences. So, some possible consequences for violations. CSUF disciplinary action. So again, even though you are in another country, you're studying abroad, all of this still comes back to Cal State Fullerton. There is also the risk of you being taken out of your program. So of course, like depending on the matter, right? We will always talk to the students, learn more about what happened, talk to the host university team. But depending on the scenario, there have been scenarios in the past where it has had to end with ending the program. And that could affect a lot of other things, right? Your academics. We would hate for you to be pulled from a program when it's too late for you to continue your coursework here at Cal State Fullerton, thus your whole academic plan being interrupted, right? Um, Legal consequences, that could be another one. And at least my experience has been that when there's legal consequences in another country, it is very scary because there's very little that our team can get involved in that sense, right? So it almost feels like at that point it really is up to local officials. And as much as like Host University and Cal State Fullerton can try and to go in and help, it's still another country. Financial loss. So again, if you have to be pulled from your program early, you have all worked so hard, I know, on so many levels, and I know financing a program is a huge part of it. So I would hate for any of you to have to go through this loss where you've been awarded a scholarship or saved up your money, and then now you have to end a program short, or you have to book an early return for flight and pay more out of pocket. And lastly, risk to health and safety. So like I said, that is really like the main concern here, right? When we go abroad, it's super exciting. Like one of our past directors used to say that it was like the Disneyland syndrome. Like you get there and you feel like, oh, this is it. Nothing can happen to me here. I'm in this bubble. Um, and for some reason we like lose, I don't know, like we just feel like we're invincible, right? But um you just want to make sure that you're being safe. I always, when students ask me about safety in another country, I think about, well, we take those same like precautions here. But I think like when you're abroad, you just need to up it up a little bit. So yeah, so just a reminder on student conduct and safety. And to summarize all of this, um, just think about your purpose, right? Like I said, I know you've all worked so hard. I've seen all of you go through, all these applications, all this time. So think about your purpose for study abroad. What do you want to gain from this experience? I know that like the travel part, the party life comes with it. I know, like I've been there. But we also want to make sure that you're keeping in mind those long-term goals, your career goals, academic goals. You've invested so much, right? What do you really want to learn from this experience? And also, as you're navigating the study abroad experience, keep in mind that everything is a learning experience, and not everything is always going to go as expected. So just really taking each step as a learning opportunity, all while being safe. Studies that we'll be going over. These are incidents that unfortunately actually happened to Cal State Fullerton students. So we've taken a few of these examples, and we put them in this Mentimeter presentation so that we could all just take a further look. And the goal here is to learn from other people's experiences, so that you don't have to go through this. Yeah, majority joined. So we'll go ahead and get started. So let's see. So this first case study is about visa and immigration. So you think about, so you're arriving at the airport and your host country and about to go through customs and immigration. You give the immigration officer your passport, but the officer says you do not have a visa to enter the country. You explain to the immigration officer that you read online that a visa could be received upon arrival to the country. The immigration officer explains that this is not the case for you. They deny you entry to the host country and you must return back to the US. So, question one. So, what should they have done before departure to prevent this? We have a few options here. Just showed up and explained their situation. Immigration will understand. Confirm entry requirements for their nationality, assume that visa on arrival applies to all travelers, or rely on a travel blog that said no visa was needed. Great, yeah. So, what are some possible themes or lessons or takeaways from this situation? If you just want to drop a blurb here real quick, I'm just curious to see what everybody thinks. And unfortunately, this is something that actually happened. Um, and it's kind of scary. I know a lot of you are in this process right now of the visa, so it's really important that we understand this part. Be prepared for anything, get my visa, make sure to do everything on time, not to procrastinate. Do your research and get the visa done before your flight. Research requirements thoroughly before departure. Yes, yes, yes. All great answers. Um, So, what actually happened? These were actually two different instances where something like this happened. The first student, they were a non-US passport holder, and so the procedures that applied to their US classmates didn't apply to them. And that student did need a visa prior to arrival according to their passport citizenship. So this is why we always specify that when you're looking at the requirements for your host country, you base it off of your passport citizenship, if that makes sense, right? So you can't assume that, oh, everybody in the Discord channel said they don't need a visa, so neither do I. We don't know what their status is, right? So we want to make sure that we're looking specifically to what yours is. The second student was advised by their program's arrival instructions that they needed to obtain a visa prior to entry, but the student read online that they could just obtain a visa upon arrival. In both cases, the students had to immediately withdraw from their programs. So again, like all you mentioned, doing your research, but making sure that they're credible resources. Um, Especially like we always say, go to the consulate's webpage, right? Blogs, maybe information is outdated or it's the wrong information, right? So making sure that you're looking at credible sources. Um, and another example of how there's really nothing we could do at this point, right? By the time the student did get a visa, it would have been way too late for them to start the program. So these two students did have to withdraw from the program, come back home, and just start their semester here at Cal State Fullerton. So this next case study is the topic is on discrimination. So you have been in your host country and on your program for several weeks. You've been noticing that your interactions with locals and even other study abroad students are not what you expected. You get the strong feeling that you are being discriminated against, sometimes harassed, and it's affecting your ability to enjoy your study abroad experience. So we have a quick question here. What should the student have done in this situation? So some options, keep it to themselves. Everyone deals with tough situations abroad. Reach out to their on-site program staff coordinator or the SAGE team. Confront those they believe are discriminating against them, or book a flight home as soon as possible. Mm, okay. Yeah, so let's see. So the majority of you said reach out to their on-site staff coordinator and SAGE team. So some quick thoughts as you read this. What are some possible themes, lessons, takeaways? Like the majority of you said, communicate. There's multiple teams that you could reach out to, so that's a great point. And then we'll see what actually happened. So we'll make other friends, reach out for help when I need it, remain calm. Yeah, so all of these are great things. Um, so what actually happened with this student is that the student was participating in a study abroad program that includes or accommodates students studying abroad from other colleges and universities. The student had traveled and studied abroad before, so they chose a program that took place in a non-traditional study abroad location. And the student didn't feel safe anymore. And the academics of the program turned out not to be a good fit. The student withdrew from the rest of the program and returned to the US. So I think the key word here is safety. So the student did not feel safe. We don't know like to what extent, like what was the harassment, right? But the minute that the student was verbal about not feeling safe anymore, comfortable about remaining on the program, they did reach out to the local team on site and also to our team. So again, this goes out to all of you. If you ever feel like you're not in a good place, you don't feel comfortable, like all of you said, you already tried making friends, you already tried um, but again, like safety, you feel like there's something that's really not clicking there. You it's even like affecting your academics, right? We're never ever going to force you to stay in your program. So if this is the case, again, please reach out to us. We work closely with risk management, the host universities to ensure that what is the plan to get you back home. So we just want to make it clear that nobody is forced to stay in their program if it's not the safest fit for them. So this next one is on conduct. Um, your your accommodations are with the local host family. One evening after dinner, you go out to explore the city's nightlife, but lose track of time. It's late and your host family is worried. On your way home, you were intoxicated and mistakenly tried to enter the wrong house, which led the residents to call the police, and you are detained. So, with this one, what could have helped them avoid this horrible situation? Not go out at all while studying abroad. Assume locals will understand mistakes by foreigners. Carry a note saying you're a student if you are stopped by police, or not go out alone and avoid getting intoxicated. Um, so we'll see. Go ahead and submit your response. Yes. So definitely not going out alone and avoiding getting intoxicated. Again, like these are just similar, right, things that we advocate for while you're here in at CSUF. Um, but this, I'm just curious what your thoughts might be, possible themes, lessons, takeaways. This did actually happen to a student. Um, but yeah, feel free to drop your thoughts here. Yeah, so being careful, being mindful of your actions. Um, this goes back to, right, how like being in a foreign country, we have to abide by whatever their legal rules are. So what actually happened here was the student was detained by local authorities, and it took the host family a few hours to locate them. The host university contacted the CSUF team, and legal help was involved. The student was held for several days. So they were held for several days while it was decided whether charges would be pressed. Fortunately, the family chose not to press charges, and the student was released safely. So I remember this incident, and it was very scary to realize that there was so little that we could do in this scenario because it was really up to the host country's legal team. Like they had the final say. It was up to that family if they were going to press charges. And so going back again, unfortunately, uh, statistics show that when it comes to study abroad, usually when things like this happen, the majority of the time, alcohol is involved. So, again, we always want to make sure you're aware of your surroundings. And we always recommend you don't go out by yourself. So that's one point someone brought up. Um, Making sure other people know where you're at. Um, but yeah, if I think it's really important to continue to follow, again, a lot of the things that you already do when you go out here, right? But when we're abroad, for some reason, there's a switch that we feel like, oh, nothing will happen. And we could be in some scenarios a bit more vulnerable. So just being responsible, making sure you're not going out on your own, and always being aware of the possible consequences. And reminder to please join our emergency group on WhatsApp. So download the app if you don't have it, join the Sage Spring 26 community, and then join that subgroup for your specific program country. Um, I just put this on here, but in your study abroad application, we do have a pretty extensive packing list if that's something you need. And you can still go ahead and meet with me if you want to do a last check-in before you depart. I will be hosting drop-in hours through the end of the semester. Um, I know my advising schedule might be pretty full already, so if you need to meet, just go ahead and email me directly, and I can see where I can squeeze you in. So I'm here through December 18, if you want to chat. So that's the end of the actual presentation. Email, you have my email, our general inbox email. Always feel free to reach out to that. I also included our associate director's email. She's not here today.